Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Don Puno, and I will be your host today. It's our pleasure to welcome you to our fourth industry panel discussion on how promising is Latin America for forwarders, brought to you by RW Solutions. RW Solutions is headquartered in Hong Kong and currently have 9 freight forwarding networks that are into industry niches. RW networks are very much focused on handling capabilities of forwarders from pharma, perishables, NVOCC, and FCL to geographic interests like Africa, Middle East, and Latin America. By having specialized groups, members engage in more meaningful business exchanges with more qualified networking across their various brands. At present, we have over 900 members from over 100 countries under the RW umbrella. All of our panel speakers for today are coming from various RW networks. Today's program will last about 1 hour, and at this time, we would like to open up the microphone to our audience to get to know all of you a little bit better so that our speakers can understand who their audience is. In this segment, you will be called out, so please unmute yourself and introduce yourself by mentioning which company and country you are from, what time it is where you are, and why you are excited to be part of this panel discussion. So let's go ahead and look on the gallery here. Can we call on Monica Cheng? Are you there?
Hi, how are you?
Hey, hi, guys. Monica. So where are you joining us from today?
I'm from Peru.
You're from Peru.
Yes, I am from the company IFS, and my boss is going to talk in the panel, so I'm very excited about it. His name is Reinier Gislason, so yeah.
All right, great. I was wondering how to pronounce his name. Now I more or less know. Thank you for that, Monica. What time is it in Peru? What time is it there?
Right now, it's 10 a.m., I think. Yeah, 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay, got it. All right, here in Manila time, it's 11 p.m. In case anybody was wondering. But yeah, we're being joined by lots of people from all over the world today. Let's go ahead and go to our next person. Can we call on Mark Rodriguez? Mark, are you there? If you're there, please unmute yourself and turn on your camera. Okay, we're gonna go back to Mark. How about we go to Steven Alves? Steven, please unmute your microphone. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you just fine.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Steven Alves. I'm with the LATAM Forwarders Club, which is one of RW Solutions networks, and I'm here today out of interest, obviously, because the discussion topic is business in Latin America.
And where do you hail from, Steven?
I'm in California.
California. Okay, great. Great to have you with us. And I'm guessing it's around 8 a.m.? Is that right?
8 a.m. That's correct.
8 a.m. Bright and early, just starting your day. Awesome.
Exactly.
All right, let's go ahead and go to Peter. Peter Mwangi, are you there? Hi, Peter, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from today?
I'm from Kenya, East Africa.
Kenya, East Africa. Awesome. Great.
Yes.
And what are you hoping to learn today in today's panel discussion?
I'm actually hoping to learn a lot we are facing a lot in the world, and the shipping industry is much affected. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to hear how the other part of the world and everyone is faring.
How everyone else is faring. Yeah, I agree. It's good to get a good worldwide perspective on how things are going on these days. And our panel discussion is going to really shed some light on how everybody's doing around the world. So thank you very much, everybody. It was interesting getting to know some of you, but now it's time to get to know our speakers. So again, please forgive me if I mispronounce your names, but let's get started. First, we have Simon Sousa. Simon Sousa is the CEO of Fox Cargo from Brazil. He is a member of Combined Logistics Networks and the Freight Summit. Next, we have Reinier Gislason, Executive President of International Freight Shipping from Peru. He is one of the members of Combined Logistics Networks and the Freight Summit. Next, we have Gabriel Buedo, the CEO of Logistics Gurus LLC from the United States. He is also a member of Combined Logistics Network and the Freight Summit. Next, we have Andrea Cifuentes Chalarca. Business Development Manager of Joint and Cargo International from Mexico, and is also a member of the Freight Summit. And lastly, we have Felipe Mazzini. He is the General Manager of Silver Freight Logistics from Argentina. He is one of the members of Combined Logistics Networks as well. So today, our main topic is, how promising is Latin America for forwarders? So before we proceed, may I request you to switch into the side-by-side speaker screen, and we have prepared 4 questions on this topic. But let me start with the first one, and that first question is, what are the common pitfalls and problems when developing business with South America? So I'm going to go call on our panel right now to answer this. We'll do this in no specific order. So let's go ahead and start with Simon.
Hi, everybody. Well, what I see for South America is when I speak to a lot of agents, they always question me and tell me, Simon, why is the customs clearance huge usually in South America? So I see that one of the points, the bullet points, is that the agents, they have issues when they come up to the customs clearance in South America. Why is it so bureaucratic? Because in other parts of the world, it's very simple. You're able to clear the cargo when it just arrives. In Brazil, it's a bit different. It takes some time. Another thing is about the demurrage charges. Due to the customs clearance, it takes too long to clear containers. So usually, in Brazil, just for you to have an idea, the container demurrage per day is around $150 for a 40 cube. So this is also a high cost. Brazil, local last mile trucking fees are usually very high as well. So sometimes when you ask for ex-works, especially from Brazil to the port or to the airport, you'll see that the local tracking or the last mile to deliver the cargo to pick up from the supplier, they are very high. Because of everything in Brazil is done by truck. It's not like in Europe that you have lots of trains and it's very cheap and economic. So these costs are very high when you quote them to the agents. But the people that live in Brazil that import and export, they are very familiar with these costs. But for the forwarders outside, it's interesting just to point it out for them to understand why. And this is the reality, what happens, especially in Brazil. Another thing in South America, it's for you to get to do a good business in South America, I think it's a very important for you to know about the relationship. The South American, they are very warm people. They like to talk, like to get together with each other. Sometimes I speak to some agents, they say, I would like to do more business with South America. It's a very promising market, everything. What can I do? And then the first question I always tell them is, when was the last time you've been to South America? No, I've never been there. So it's very important for you to go to South America to get to know the people. Because nowadays, of course, you have a lot of marketing tools and lots of people sell themselves very well. But you have to come over to South America to see the infrastructure, who's in the office, how many people they have in the office, for you to work with a solid agent, you understand? South America, there are lots of agents. And I think that the tricky thing about South America is it's not tricky, but something that you have to draw attention is for you to make a freight forwarder in South America. I usually say in Brazil, because we are on basis, you don't need to do any down payment or any specific license to make it a start. So if you want to open a freight forwarder in South America, it's very easy. Just open a company and you become a freight forwarder. So that's why I always say that you have to come over to see whom is the person that you're doing business with, how is his infrastructure, does he take part of a network, does he fly abroad, does he do business and get some other referrals. So this is the main issue, that you must come to get your partner bed in South America, because they like doing this relationship. Of course, South America, you also have like the documentation on how to issue. It's totally different. But if you know how to do the step-by-step, you can have a lot of volume doing South America. South America, they import and they export huge volumes. So you cannot be out of South America market. It's a must. And you must come over to the exhibitions like Intermodal, get to know the people. It's very, very important. So these are some topics that I think that it's very important that we handle here in Brazil, especially.
How easy is it to get to Brazil these days with COVID in the world now?
Yeah, what happens at the moment? We almost like I myself, I got the injection yesterday for the second. So what happened? It's starting to open slowly, like all other countries, but it's possible for you already to start coming to Brazil. Not, of course, you don't have as many flights as before, because everything is just starting to become not normal, but almost as normal as in the past. So it will take some time but it's easier than like a couple of months back. So people are all starting to come over to Brazil and out of Brazil. So I think it's not a big deal at the moment.
All right. Well, thank you for those insights on Brazil and how it works over there. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next speaker right now. Can we hear from Rainier, please? If you could just unmute your microphone.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, Don.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. Good to see all the panel members who I know for many years, most of you, and to all the audience. Well, Don, as far as the question, what are the common pitfalls, problems when developing business in South America? Well, I have, few bullet points that I just want to mention. The problems are really due to complexity in import-export regulation in the region, because there is no synchronization between the countries. Brazil has their regulations, Peru their, Argentina theirs, and then the other issue really is reliability of suppliers. You have to really verify who you're dealing with, and that's just like Simon says, you have to verify what partners you are working with, because we, like Simon is saying, you can open up a freight forwarding company and just don't need anything to start it. Most of them fail and they don't have any capital, and they are there to collect money and then they run. The corruption is systemic in our region, so you have to really watch out for corruption. The domestic logistic challenges due to poor logistic infrastructure. This is a big problem in the Americas, Latin America, South America. We have very poor road systems, high crime rate, very expensive to transport cargo from airport, seaport to consignees and back. So and that's why it's very expensive to do business in our region. And many forwarders complain about high cost. And also you have to really watch out, all the audience. If you're doing business with forwarders in Latin America, there is one trick in their playbook, is that they underquote the cost. And then when the cargo gets to the destination, they come out with all kinds of extra cost, because they attract freight through fake low domestic cost, so be aware of that. The reliability of suppliers, as I say, if you're doing business, you are handling freight or businesses that you are routing for, just make sure you validate the suppliers, that they are true and correct. That's what we do at IFS. For every single shipment that is routed to us, we always call and contact the suppliers, and we verify that they have license to import and license to export. Is really important. But I like Simon was saying, this region has 400 million people. It is a really rich in natural, nature's resources. So I believe that it's going to be a major market segment in the world in the next coming years.
I see. It sounds like it's a tricky situation, but it's definitely an opportunity that has to be taken, because there's just so many people there. Yeah. Absolutely,
Don. No question about it. It's worth doing business in Latin America.
Okay, so I guess if to get a good relationship in Latin America, it's good to connect with people like you, so that they can understand all of the nitty-gritty and avoid perhaps the corruption that can go on when your shipments get there.
Yeah, exactly, Don. What we focus on is just make sure everything's okay. That's all that matters.
That's all anybody can really hope for, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next speaker in this panel discussion. How about you, Gabriel? What are your thoughts?
Good morning, good evening for you. Good morning, everybody, my panel colleagues and the audience. Well, as you know, I have a long experience in Miami and an overall picture of Latin America, because as you know, Miami is the gateway for the region. I would say that the main problem we have here is not only as my colleague said, choose the right partners to work with you, but also we have to be full-time alert to the changing government policies, to the changing government economic measures, to the changing exchange in the local currencies in every single country. That implies a lot of risks when you should get your money back. But the main point I will say is to be alert, to know what the markets are doing, what the governments are doing, what are the economic policies in every single country, because this is already a kind of warning for you to prevent any kind of problem on the way of the logistics chain. The second point, as Rainier said, I mean, you have to pick the right partner for you to work with, and that is why it's so important, this kind of networking, like RW Solution and all the branches they have, because more than business, you become friends with the members, and you can get the best references in the world. You can get a good Dun & Bradstreet or BIS or bank references or whatever. But when you build up a personal relationship with a person, I mean, I guess we all in this industry, almost all of us, have a word to support, our business and comply with the, with the payments and this and that. And, and you build that over the years, of course, investing time and money and confidence in your partners you work with. We know that it's not easy. The area is very, on top of all what I said, is also what Simon mentioned, what Rainier mentioned, custom regulations, clearances, unexpected charges at destination. This is everyday bread for all of us. But we have to deal with that. We have done that for many years, and it's a question of being always alert and move to the right direction and anticipate the problems as much as we can. That's basically what I think about that.
Okay, Gabriel, we also have a question here. What problem does Miami as a gateway to South America solve exactly? What are the benefits of Miami being that gateway?
Well, today, I mean, historically was the main gateway for South America, for Latin America generally, Central America, South America, etc. Because all the cargo coming from all over US, which is a very big country, was coming down and making, a consolidation in Miami. And from here in Miami, we have all the options to the area, either air, ocean, or whatever. So it's basically the gateway point, naturally speaking, for all the area. During the pandemic, since the beginning of the pandemic and during the pandemic and still today, it's a very important point for transiting merchandise. When all the flights were canceled in South America, or restricted or minimized or whatever, we developed a lot of routes from South America and to South America, coming from Far East, coming from Europe, coming from US. So Latin America became a very important transit point, especially in everything that concerns pharma business, which is the matter of these days. So we realized that all the freighter capacity, all the space and the better rates, et cetera, are mainly in Miami for South America. And that will not change. That will be always the case for some reason, but that's the way it is.
That's right. Yes. And I guess thank you very much for those insights, Gabriel. Now we're going to go move to our next speaker now. Thank you. Andrea, are you there?
Yeah, but the microphone. Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, I'm here. Wasn't able to unmute my microphone. How are you guys?
Good, we're good. What are the common pitfalls and problems that you encounter?
Well, I'd say right now I'm in Mexico, but I have a long experience in South America. I'm Colombian, but lived for a while in Chile also, and have met all our other colleagues in all those areas. So I totally agree with them when they say mainly one of the most important pitfalls we have working with South America is the infrastructure we have, because the governments are not investing that much in improving that area. So when the cost at destination or origin in South America include any kind of movement between port and final destination, those are extremely high. And foreign countries don't really, or other continents don't really understand why our local charges are so high. And besides what Gabriel or Rainier was saying about the customs clearance process or the bureaucracy that we have to face because of the way we work, which is also other issue, the culture that we have in South America of bureaucracy, we have to add all these extra charges. So the local charges for port maneuvers or for final delivery are always higher than anything comparable to even, well, in other times, comparable to the ocean freight. Sometimes it's higher. So we always have to explain our foreign partners and our foreign customers why this is not working the same way. So we also have a lot of mountains in South America, which makes a lot more difficult to make easier the transportation. So I think that's one of the most important, as our colleague said. We also have to face, not also us between our business, but we also have to take into account for other customers to try to invest or put their companies in our countries, that in South America, the political and economical situation is not always stable. So it means that obviously it makes more difficult for foreign companies to decide to invest money in our country. So that decreases or makes slower the growing of the economy in South America. So I think it's one of the problems that foreign customers and foreign companies face when they have to make business with South America. On the top of that, I think it's a matter of trust also, because as our culture is a little different, I guess that most of the foreign customers always think that it's not easy to trust about credit, to trust about the final quote we offer. And they have this image that we are always saying this is the price, and at the end we change it because we have extra charges at the end, as Rainier and the others were saying. So all those things that we were mentioned nowadays, because of communication and globalization and everything, of course, we have started to learn more about how to work together, but it's not easy to trust each other when our cultures and the way we work are so different, and when our governments are not helping, like developing a better infrastructure in our countries in South America.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds very similar to what we experience here also in the Philippines, actually. A lot of the same pitfalls as well in some areas there. How do you, so what is the solution to that? Do you say that like the best way to do it is just to build the networks by, attending things like this or having face-to-face meetings to really build that trust?
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with that. And as you know, guys, I am 100% positive on that. We have to meet our partners everywhere personally and do the best we can to make it stronger our relationships with them. So that will help us to make it a common network and work together for the same goal. And also to go to a final customer. For example, if I go with Simon to Brazil and visit his customers, of course, it's gonna make a stronger basis to show and prove to his customers that we have the way to work together, even if it is a challenge to move something from Mexico to Brazil, or to move something from Chile to Brazil, or from Peru. His customer is gonna realize that he has something, that somebody is strong at the other side and can trust easier. So it's better for us to show that we have more support than a single company, So I really think that this is the right way to do it, like attending events like these where we can have a stronger communication with our partners and improve that trust between us.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Andrea, for your insights. We're going to move on to our final speaker, Felipe. What are your thoughts on the common pitfalls and problems doing business in South America?
Hi, Don. Thank you.
Hi.
Of course, I agree with what everyone else has been saying about it. In a way, I think that the main pitfall might be trying to apply your own rules from your country in South America. When you come down here, we are working in a different way. Not only because the lack of investment that we have in our region, and also because we have a very tough customs, and that make it a little bit tricky. And in a way, when you try to go through business in South America, at least in Argentina, we start working 2 days after a vessel arrives. So while the war is moving to get things in advance and move faster, we're still in slow motion. And that's a tricky thing, a very high cost situation. Of course, as a region, I believe that we have not developed a good and a strong relation, despite that I think that we care for everyone in the region, but as a region, we don't have a common position, or even in between our countries. I would say Argentina and Brazil, we have an excellent relation, but the things are not as smooth as it should be. It's not like when you go to Europe, you can move around between countries and do things in a very fast way. Even from Argentina to Brazil, going through from the border, it's slow. It's not easy, and in the market, it's almost the same. Even for us, we are quite similar with Brazil, and just developing a relation and moving cargo between our countries, it's a nightmare. We have too many difficulties in not too many days. The transit time between our countries is really short, and many times we cannot go through the bureaucracy from one other or the other, and it gets a little bit tricky. About the relation, I think that well, we are all part of different networks, especially on RW Solutions. I think that that's the way to develop business. From Argentina, we are the southest country in Latin America, and of course, it's very hard to make people make people come down here. So we've been traveling around the world for the last 10 years, trying to develop the relation to build our reputation worldwide, because it's quite important. I do believe that in every market, you need to have a reliable agent. The main problems that we have faced worldwide, despite what you might think, has been in the main markets like US, Europe, where we have get scams are in many times in the biggest one. So you have to always be careful. You need to know who you are working with, and from that point, everything is get easier. No? You have to trust in people, but you need to know them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I got it. So yes, very important to build that network. Yeah, and you, if I'm not mistaken, Argentina, that's the farthest south you can go without hitting the South Pole. Is that correct?
Yeah. Chile is almost like us in a way. We say that we are the southest, but
okay,
Chile
okay,
is next to us. And of course, one last thing that I would like to say, especially from our country, we are the third country with the highest inflation in the world. So wow. Banking and finance down here is quite an issue. You have to develop a strong team to go through the banks. It's not that easy. Many times we get questions from agents worldwide, and they say, why you cannot do a wire transfer in just 1 or 2 days? And right now in Argentina, just to go through a money transfer, it could take you 7 days, 7, 10.
Wow.
So it's a challenging thing as well.
I see. So yeah, it's good you have to plan ahead, I suppose, if you're going to do business in Argentina.
Yeah.
All right. So all right, we're going to move on to our next question now, and we'll go ahead and go back to the top of the order here. So please share with us why you believe South America is an important market for the world to focus on. So Simon, what are your thoughts on this?
I would say, of course, South America is one of the huge markets. If you see the Latin market, we have Brazil #1, we have Mexico number 2, Argentina and Peru. These are the countries that are the strongest in the Latin America. So all the speakers here, they are representing countries that have huge volume in the Latin market. But in these last 2 years, what I've seen is that the e-commerce is booming. So if you take the last 1 year and a half, especially in Brazil, I would say we grew around 70% on the e-commerce. So this was a business that before what happened, we didn't have this experience. It was very little e-commerce throughout the world. But in Brazil, it boomed. So automatically you have more air freight and you have more ocean freight as well, because all the consumers now, they want to arrive, buy the cargo from any place in the world and make it receive at home. And all this involves several types of logistics, air, ocean, and the last mile. So this is a tendency that came to stay. And just for you to have an idea, Amazon, they just set a huge warehouse in Brazil for 3PL. We have AliExpress as well. They also, with a huge warehouse in Brazil. We have Mercado Libre, which is Argentina. It's an Argentina company, but in Brazil is one of the main markets after Mexico as well. So these e-commerce, I see that it's booming in worldwide, and South America is having a big benefit of this. And Brazil is the 7th in the e-commerce, just for you to have an idea, ranking out of 10. By 2030, we see that Brazil will be the 6th place in the economy. Today, it's in the 12th place. So if today we're in the 12th, by 2030, it will be in the 6th. So imagine how many business it will be. So you can see that if you plan yourself up to 2030, you'll be able to get some good fruits out of this in the logistics or in the import or out of the export as well. Brazil is very open for foreign investments. It's very open to accept the money to come and build companies in Brazil. You see that Brazil has got a lot of multinationals. You've got all the huge players. You have BM, Mercedes, all the car companies are located in Brazil. They have their own factories in Brazil. Another thing about Brazil is the land. The land growth. By 2050, Brazil is going to be responsible for 70% of everything that's produced. If you see and looking to the future, the population is growing. We have 7 billion, but imagine 2050, how many population will be in the world? And you're going to have to feed all these people. So Brazil will be, by 2050, they will be representing 70% of the country that will have being produced, like soybeans, oranges, all fruits to the whole population. So this is a huge number, and you're going to have to feed all them. So South America has a lot of good lands. It's tropical, so it's good to plant as well. So this is a huge market for exports. Soybean, just for you to have an idea, Brazil's number 1. We're always fighting with the US, number 1, number 2, who produces more soybeans. We have the oil and gas. Brazil has a huge reserve of oil and gas, and they've got a special technology for the deep sea, deep water, to take out the petrol. So in Brazil, this is one of the only countries that they have this type of technology. So we import a lot from Houston, from Singapore as well, for the oil and gas. It's a huge reserve, and Brazil also has it. We have the clean energy. What happens? South America, we are responsible for 12% of the fresh and clean water in the world. 12% is a huge number of clean water in the world, and especially that the G7, they're always looking to take out the pollution, more clean water, recycled items. So we have a huge play in this. We also have the generator, which is Itaipu, which is the biggest clean generator of energy, which is between Argentina, Paraguay, and Brazil. So we buy cheap energy from Brazil because this is in between these 3 countries. So this is the biggest clean and the cleanest energy that we can provide as well for free. Brazil and the other countries in South America, they all have a lack of infrastructure. We have a lot to go in terms of infrastructure. You can say ports, airports, roads, everything. So everything, all these things, you have to import technology, you have to import products as well. So it's a huge market that you can grow a lot doing this. So infrastructure, especially in South America, there's a lot to do. Trains, railways, everything. So I see that joining all this, it's impossible for you not to have a good business out of South America, doing the import or export in all these topics that I just mentioned.
Tons of opportunity, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, we'll move on to Rainier. Well, please share with us why you believe South America and the country you're from is important, an important market.
Hi, Don. Like Simon is saying, you know, South America, Latin America, you know, Central America is a region with incredible resources, you know, and agriculture, mining and minerals, forestry products, soybeans, rice, name it, everything is grown in this region. And feeding the world population, South America, Latin America will be an incredible source. And as saying that, you know, we have 400 million plus people in this region. It's the business within the region, I'd say, has grown tremendously. I mean, Peru and Brazil, Peru used to have US as its biggest trading partner, and then it shifted over to China. And soon Brazil will be the biggest trading partner with Peru. And so we are seeing incredible growth in trade within the region because communication, trust, knowing the people, visiting the people. I'll encourage all the participants in this conference to go to the region and get familiar with the region, get to know the people. We have a very young average age population. We are second to Africa with a young population. So we are seeing a lot of innovations, e-commerce, stocking, picking, packing, partial combination of goods, development of new technology, infrastructure, and so on. So I think doing business in Latin America and the importance of this market should be not understated. It is really important, a lot of opportunities, and I would encourage all the participants to pay close attention to it. But like Andrea was saying, in order to do business in our region, it's about people, and it's to get familiar with the people, get to know them. That's why we are in RV Solution Networks to become friends and attending conferences and so on. And the reason why I go and we go is just to get to know each other and understand our local requirements. And for the participants, Don, it's really important that they do exactly the same as we are doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what these events are for, specifically for that purpose. So glad everybody could join us today. All right, let's move on to Gabriel.
Okay. Yes, I entirely agree with my colleagues. Latin America is a very important market because all countries forming Latin America and Central America are still emerging countries. There is a lot of dependency on those countries in everything that concerns industrialization, machinery, parts, spare parts, etc., etc., etc. So it is a big opportunity to continue investing effort and times building relationship with those partners in Latin America, because the traffic will always be there. And it's already proved during the pandemic, during a crisis, worldwide crisis, we had to invent different routes, different solutions and everything to continue the flow of trade, which is so important, southbound and northbound and eastbound, westbound, or whatever. So it is definitely a market. I mean, I have personally been dealing with Latin America for 30 years already, being in Miami. So it is my everyday brain. So it is important indeed. There is a lot of projects that at this point are on standby because of the situation, but there is so much infrastructure and everything that has to be done, even though Latin America is growing and is getting more industrial, especially Brazil, etc. But there is a lot of dependency yet. So we need to keep an eye on there because it's a very interesting part of the world to work with.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much for those insights, Gabriel. Okay, next we'll go to Andrea.
Okay,
there we go.
I can do it. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, well, in this point, I consider two different points. The first one is that considering most of, I'm not going to focus only in South America, but I'm going to say Latin America in general, we have a very qualified manpower, and that combined with the fact that our currencies are weaker than a lot of others that are from Europe or United States, you know, dollars, euros. So it brings a big opportunity to foreign customers to make some kind of foreign investment, of course, in Latin America. And that takes me to the other part. And this is a theory I have, and I think that obviously it's going to happen in this way. Right now, we are facing that the freights are super high from China, Europe, and almost impossible to get, the containers the cargo bringing in on time to Latin America in general. So what is going to happen, or what is happening already, is that most of our customers are getting more suppliers in Americas, So a lot of customers that were firstly buying from China are now trying to buy from Mexico or trying to buy from Peru, and the same way between South American countries. What is going to happen is that at the end, we're going to make the thing we're supposed to do before, and it's become a stronger group of countries and supporting others, So in some point, when the freights start to get lower again, we are going to be a very strong group of countries, like we are already, but we have never been that together. And all this situation is pushing our countries to start more communication and more business between us. And that will make in some point a very big block of very strong countries, as we didn't face before, as Europe did, or other groups of countries have done before. So I think it's a huge opportunity. It's the right time to focus on Latin America. And as Rainier was saying, I also encourage all our colleagues here and all others that can to think about the future of this. So obviously we are in a very, very important point. Everything is changing, but we have to look in the future and see that this is taking us somewhere. So that is specifically what we have to focus on, and realize that the opportunity that we have right now, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And besides, anyway you can look at this from now, and you are going to realize that at some point the inflation and all the prices that are increasing, there is no other way where we can go. Everything is going to change. So as a group of countries, this is the best time to invest in Latin America.
Okay, thank you for that, Andrea. Okay, and let's hear from Felipe.
Well, from Latin America, I will say, of course, as a supplier, I do believe, as Simon says, that we have and Rainier also mentioned, we have almost everything to provide to the world. As a consumer, I think that we are younger than the rest of the world. We are just entering in a stage that we were not able to do it before. And I will take the blame in a way, at least in Argentina, to the pandemic. I believe that the pandemic has shaken things in a way that the government has no other way to move forward than making changes. What I'm trying to say, that in Argentina there were a lot of things that you can only do through bureaucracy, and that you might need paper. And through the pandemic, that was not able, because you cannot produce paper, you cannot deliver the paper, you cannot work through it. So right now, our wallets, it's our phone. We don't need our ID in physical ways. The e-commerce is booming. We have our own Amazon company that is a unicorn company that is called Mercado Libre. That's the translation will be free market. that is growing all over the region, and it was an Argentinian company that started here. And for example, in my personal case, when the pandemic started, I never bought anything by e-commerce in Argentina, and once it started, I think that I'm in the top ranking right now. It's like it's something that has changed quite a lot. Something I want to share. I also share with Andrea is that we have a very educated manpower. I think that's as a consumer, not only as employees and as a manpower, but also as a consumer, it's something good. And I do believe that you have many opportunities. Of course, pandemic has created new routines. For example, we are having trucking from Peru to Argentina, something that many years ago it was almost impossible because of the costing. But right now, thanks to the shipping lines, you can even take a truck from Peru to Argentina. So things are changing in a way that I don't know what is going to end, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you for those insights. We were supposed to have 2 more questions for the panel, but I'm just going to go ahead and combine them into one question now. So we'll just do this. Please give us a short introduction about your company and your specializations. And also, if you wanted to add, what are the main commodities that your country imports and exports? So we'll go ahead and start with Simon. I know you actually spoke about this already, the part about the imports and exports that your country has, but you can expound on it a little bit more, or you can also give us some info about your company specifically.
Okay, Don. Well, about the exports, Brazil, we're very strong in mineral products such as iron ore and petrol. We export them a lot. Soybeans, we are a huge supplier for soybeans for the world. Foodstuff, raw sugar, coffee, one of the main suppliers. So there are huge volumes on this. Animal meat, a lot of animal meat out of Brazil. Paper, steel, and wood. Mainly these are the volume items, the commodity that we export. For imports, a lot of chemicals, machinery, plastic, cars, motorcycles. Due to the new generation now, we do a lot of electronics everybody's buying smartwatches, desktop, everything. So for the import, it's more electronics. So these are the main items that we are importing and export out of Brazil. Just a short brief about the company. Last week we made our 19th birthday, especially in South America. For you to have a freight forwarder 19 years old, it's I would say it's not so easy, especially in the freight forwarding, because you have to be always adapting. And 19 years in the market, I'd say it's a very interesting number, because it's 19 years of credibility, customers, and getting to know more agents throughout the time. And you can only stay so long in the market if you're trustable and reliable. And especially in South America, like our colleagues just said, all the issues that we have. We do all types of logistics. As we're freight forwarder, we're all in the same boat. So I don't have to say much, but we have 72 staff, 5 officers. And what we're more specialized in, one of our departments that we're very proud to share, is the project cargo. Due to all this infrastructure that I said, we do a lot of project cargo between the countries of South America and Latin countries. For generators, we exchange one factory from one country to another. So this project divisions are very specialized and niched sector that we're handling. And we're also doing a very specialized in the e-commerce. So these two, we put in a lot of energy, because we believe that in the long run, this is what will make the change.
Okay, and why don't you give us, I guess, how do people get in touch with you? Would you like to put your information here on the chat?
Sure. I'll put the information on the chat, but you can email me on simon@foxbrazil.com, or get in contact, send me a WhatsApp. Also put on my WhatsApp number, and the website is foxbrazil.com. If anybody interested in doing some business with South America, please, it will be very nice to be in contact and getting to know and share more about South America, especially Brazil, for the people who have other curiosities that I didn't say.
All right, thank you so much, Simon. All right, let's move on to Rainier.
Hi, Don again. Yeah, okay. Peru is a country with 32 million, not nearly as big as as Brazil or Colombia or Argentina. But Peru is the size of France, just to give you a geographical size of the state of Alaska, for example. So it's a really, really big country with an elevation close to 7,000 meters and part of Amazon. Driest desert on earth is part of the land to the wettest. And agriculture really on our exports, you know, we 50% of Peru GDP is mining and minerals. You know, Peru is the second largest copper producer in the world after Chile. It's largest silver producer, fifth in gold production, and so on. So minerals are really important as far as export. But what is very interesting is that agriculture growth is growing incredibly fast for us on export, you know, and I think that will grow tremendously. And so we have a lot of involvement in that. We ship a lot of perishables to the world. We are partly in the mineral exportation and supplies to mining and so forth. Peru is the fifth largest seafood nation in the world. Fish catch of 1 million+ tons. So fisheries is really important business, refrigerated cargo supply chain. That is what we handle. As far as imports, you know, we are pretty much involved in consumer goods distribution, e-commerce, pick, pack, warehousing, you know, last mile solution provider. That's what we focus and specialize in. You know, like Simon says, you know, we are 21 years in this market. We have a deep knowledge. We have a lot of trust. We have 80 people in our operation. Before COVID, we were 100. We move everybody out to their home and working from home still. We go into the office by 1st of November. So I'm going to be happy to see the people again. And that's incredible experience after 2 years working remotely and seeing each other only on Zoom. And that's kind of surreal experience, you know. We are in all modes of international goods, you know, movement, import, export, warehousing, trucking, pick, packing, air freight, sea freight, trucking, whatever. And so we have a deep knowledge, custom brokerage. We have a deep knowledge to handle movement of any shipment of any type in and out in a reliable fashion. So it's really important to us to take care of our partners, to have reliability financially. You know, like Gabriel was saying, you know, money is really tricky situation in Latin America, you know, currency, fluctuation in currency and so on. So we take very good care of that. And we have established ourselves with high trust factor and that will for sure continue.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Rainier. And then you can go ahead and put your information on the chat so that everybody can get in touch with you and your company. All right, let's move on to, thank you. Let's move on to Gabriel.
Yes, okay. As a conclusion, I would say we are not very strong in imports because my colleagues in the panel will agree the tendency in South America is to export everything direct to the final consignee without intervention of any agent at destination. I will say 95% of the cases, I might be wrong, but our expertise is as a gateway in Miami is air exports, especially what concerns, you know, industrial parts, computer parts, electronics, and we are becoming more and more aggressive in the pharma business and everything that is related to medical supplies, to packaging. We are supplying, logistics for the packaging, for the vaccines, for the AstraZeneca vaccines, for the laboratory in Argentina, and everything goes there and comes back to the States and go back there. So we are becoming more and more, we are taking a more important role in what concerns pharma business. And basically, this is what it is. Our expertise is air exports and finding a way to move cargo at the most suitable price and getting a space, which is not easy these days in the airlines from Miami. So I will put my information in the chat and we'll leave at your disposal. And thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much for joining us, Gabriel. Okay, next we're going to move on to Andrea. Andrea, are you there?
Okay, here I am. There I go. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, well, as I said, we are Joint Cargo International in Mexico. And well, I'm going to start for that part. In Mexico, talking about the country in general, most of the people would agree that if we look at the commercial trade balance, we'll see that the majority of the exports in the country is related to oil, but that part is totally related to the state, to the government. So more talking about the private area, I'd say the main articles are avocado, for sure, some other agricultural things, tequila that everybody loves. But we also have automobiles and flat screen TVs and electronic devices. And as you all know, Mexico is very well known for being a big manufacturer. So of course, for import, then there we have all the parts and pieces to be able to assemble the cars that then are exported and all the things needed to the manufacturer, all kind of electronic devices and also textiles, So those are the products that we should focus when speaking about opportunities in Mexico. And of course, for that, there we are in Mexico to help you guys in Joint Cargo. We are a very young company, 7 years in the market, but full of energy and innovation opportunities to develop, business together, to go and visit your sales leads, to go with you and develop new trades, even with those countries that we are not working right now. Our strengths are more related to automotive parts. Because of that, our main traffics are Europe and United States, but we also handle a lot of project cargo for big customers of electronic devices. So here we are for anything you may need. I will leave also the contact details in the chat for all of you to let us know anytime we can help you or in the part of the network. We are doing this specifically for that, to develop our network and make it stronger. So thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Andrea. All right, and lastly, let's hear from Felipe.
Okay, as from the perspective of markets, well, we produce food from Argentina and we import industrial things. Silver Freight is focused on airport machinery. We are responsible for almost 80% of the imports for our national and international airports. And our core business or specialization, I will say customer service. We are not after the freight, we are not after the shipping lines or the air freight. It's changed time to time. We adapt ourselves to what the market is moving on. But what we are focused on is customer service. Argentina is not a high volume business, so we have to take care about our customers and really develop a long-term relation to keep the business running. And for us, our partners are also our customers. We don't work as our business and their business. We handle our business and our agent business as the same. We take the same kind of decisions. We are a company that has been very focused on our reputation, not only worldwide, but also in Argentina. It's quite tough to keep it steady and don't get mixed and move in things that you might not you might not want to do it. We are focused in logistics, and I will say that as everyone here in the panel, we are a great host. As Latin American people, we are very warm about it. And by the end, what I will say that if you have any opportunity to develop business with any of the agents in South America, just give it a try. From our side, we will do the best we can to develop your business, and of course, what other thing you need from Argentina, just let us know.
All right, thank you, Felipe. You can also put your information on the chat so that everybody can get in touch with you as well.
I will.
Well,
I hope to see you guys in the next meeting. I like this panel, but I would like to see it in person.
I agree, and I'm looking forward to a trip to Latin America and South America sometime soon, and maybe I can meet all of you guys then. So once again, everybody, thank you so much for your contribution and for joining us for RW Solutions' 4th panel discussion, and we really appreciate you making time for us, and we would like to thank everyone that has attended today's panel discussion as well. Please be advised that we will have a once-a-month panel discussion to discuss interesting topics about our freight forwarding industry. Our next topic will be, how do we make more air cargo space by air transshipments? This will be on November 4, 2021. And the following topics for the rest of the year will be the one I just mentioned there, as well as what are the opportunities for freight forwarders in Africa happening on December 2, 2021. I hope that you guys had a great time today. Thank you so much for attending. If you do have the chance, please do visit our RW website where all our networks are showcased. You might be interested to be joining one of our networks moving forward, where we promote partnership networking amongst freight forwarders. One of our networks is the LATAM Forwarders Club, a network that connects freight forwarders from all over the world that has specific interests in the Latin America region. The network offers a secured business development platform through its payment guarantees. All members undergo a strict screening process to validate their seriousness as partners and must have a track record in the business that you can rely your shipments on. LATAM Forwarders Club is a place to make new forwarding friends and partners from the region. All right, we also, by the way, have left you a poll. If you could take 2 minutes of your time to fill it up, it'll be very helpful for us to improve our panel discussions in the future. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.